So originally I wanted to do a formal introduction video to have a whole script planned out to have like a bunch of points I want to talk about. But to tell you the truth, I have working like 40 minutes, 30, like 50 maybe. I'm not too sure. I can't see the time right now. Um, I have 50 minutes before work and I suck at scripting. I tried to script, but it didn't run up too well. So instead of what I'm gonna do, that's for an introduction video, and I'm just gonna have a point of stuff I want to talk about. Just a bunch of small stuff because I can't be here for too long. But without that out of the way, I want to get started. So the first point I thought start down is who am I? Well, first off, my name is MasakiMudo, Navi Masaki. I'm not Japanese, but Masaki just happened to be a very common anonymous username somewhat. And I like the sound of it, I still stick with it for a long time. But, well, who am I regarding this project, which I'll talk about later on, it's another point. Who am I is that I have a custom card creator for what is essentially, I would want to say 5 or 6 years. 5 or 6 years will be alright. But, well, I don't want to say that I'm the best creator there is. I do try to innovate. The gameplays that you see here are all cards made by me. The art are not by me, but I try to innovate with design and try to innovate with archetypes and cards. And a big personality for me, a big mark, I want to say mark, a big character trait of me is that I want to have a reason for doing things. And a big part of me joining or existing custom card communities was that most people just did it for fun. They just want to do one thing for like, how this will look, how this will feel, and then just leave it at that. And there wasn't like a big focus on balance. There wasn't like a big focus on curation or balancing. Because for the most part, most people just want to play for the sake of playing, and they just want to play their own cards. Which, if you go to the most big servers, most of the time you'll see people their biggest concern is that, I want to play my cards, why is it taking so long? And for a long time, I really did try to keep to this model because how people does it is that the servers usually have those submission systems, and those submission systems basically is like people can submit the cards that they want, and it takes maybe a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, and then like maybe they'll get in, and then they'll get review responses. But then the big thing is that a part of this project is that this project doesn't focus on it, but I'm getting sidetracked if I talk about myself. I care about things having reason to exist, and I care about balancing. And for a large part of my time on this hobby, I mostly stick to the ground rule is that the people should be able to submit because why not? It is not really broken, but I'm not the smartest person on the world, but like the more I do it, the more I notice it's not too balanced, and I spend a lot of time on reviewing and balancing, and which is not bad. People do enjoy the submission based formats. If you know me, you would know Burning Retribution, or yeah, Burning Retribution, and which is a older server which had a submission system. But it was but currently the one that exists is the one that has a whitelist, which I'll talk about later. And overall, I believe who am I is someone that just trying to do what feels right, because what I design isn't necessarily the most creative or the most innovative, but I just feel like there's a certain feel regarding card balance and card design that has to be met, that is just absence from both Konami and like the custom community in the whole, because I view custom cards not as a way to express yourself. I mean, it is an art form. It is an art form, but like with art, you need to like curate it. It's like I care about crafting something similar in the beauty of Mona Lisa, to say the least, because, well, custom as an art form is one point is that it's very expressive. People play it because of its expressiveness. And while that's great, what I really care about all this is also the ability to create something actually unique, new, and like something that's innovative. And really, to be honest, I'm not the best person to do it, but I have a ton of experience when it comes to creating the cards here. And a part of me is just wanting to do this for the sake of doing it. If I have to really be honest, a lot of the archetypes on here are old archetypes that I have personally ditched. With archetypes, you make an archetype, you submit it to a server, they get attention or they don't, and then you write that out. Because really, in the end, a lot of the time you make card for the sake of intention, and I want to break out of that. The younger me, they always wanted attention for what they do, but now I want to make something more of integrity. I don't know if integrity is the right word to say. I think of fulfillment, of wealth. Okay, I think I blabbed enough about that. But since I'm talking about the format so much, let's talk about what is the format or the project. Modern Rebirth is a whitelist format. What does that mean is that we started from 0 cards and we slowly add cards over time. Why do I do this? Because the Yu-Gi-Oh card game is a fucking mess. If you go, I'm not saying mess at the balance wipe, but the balance is so fucking long and there's so many potential issues. It's not even fun. It's not even fun to go and curate all of that and like go in a way that, oh, maybe I want this, maybe I want that. I just don't like it. I don't like it being like that. Alright, if I have to curate everything, I might as well just start from fresh and then see what people have to do. And that was what it worked in the old project, the Burning Retribution project. But the problem is the fact that that also takes a lot of time and effort to review submissions, and like review submissions is the worst part of custom card formats. And in the end, I sacrifice people being able to submit cards in order to have what it is today, Modern Rebirth, of just me acting as Konami. And well, what makes it different from the Yu-Gi-Oh game? All right. So, the major thing about Yu-Gi-Oh is the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh has a lot of problematic cards. Is that cards like Draw, cards like Shifter, I know, right? I think of this recording, they are on the ban list, but for a long time, for a long time, they are not. And that is fucking wild to think about, because it took Konami how long to ban them? A very long time. And they do that to the Draw or Shifter, but they still allow Charmies to go through. And what makes it different is that I don't want people arguing over cards that are like that, like ambiguously degenerate cards, like Charmies, like Draw, like Shifter, like Nib even. Nib, I believe, is a degenerate card, but that's another argument for another point, for another day. And what I truly want is a truly interactive experience, and I believe that, Konami, they see decks like Synchron, they see decks that comp DDD or any kind of decks that combos too hard, and instead of making it feel like that actually has any merits to them, they buff it to the point where it's like they don't feel special anymore. Because like realistically, you tell me, what is the difference between like combo piling something like Warrior Slop with Goki, with whatever, Infernobles, and like Synchrons or DDD? They are similar. They're different, but they are very, very similar. And instead of acknowledging that there's a problem with the combo economy, that there's too many decks that can just combo out of their own asses, they instead just sell the solutions like Draw, like the Charmies, like and everything like that. I am not here to do that. I'm here to ensure like an actual game that feels balanced and it feels thoughtful to balancing. Because what is the best solution when combo has gone too far? You don't sell solutions like Nibiru. You actually nerf the fucking combo decks. And I don't know why Konami just want to sell. Okay, I know why, because they're fucking greedy. They make sure to make money. I don't make money out of this. And what is the key point takeaway here is that the difference is that I want integrity and I want merit. Because the whole reason why this format is within a modern power level is because I can innovate. And the whole point of innovation is that is to have a large scale of what to play around with. And if I may be so bold to just click on the gameplay you're watching here, the Luminous Noblemen that you see here, the level 7 monsters here, they are inspired off of the Kashtira archetype, but the thing is that they're balanced around the fact that they're very splashable cards. Kashtira Fenrir, I had that in my old format for like a format or two. Okay, that card is like designed really badly because it has no cost associated with it. The card is pure plus. these cards are like basically what Cash Tier Offender can be, except it's balanced around the fact that it is a generic supplement engine, supplement card, and instead, instead of being degenerate, it is being the active, helpful part of the community of the cards, of the card pool of the cards, and that is what I want to achieve, and I feel like I do have achieved throughout this like 4 or 5 months of playing this, developing this format. That there's a lot of variation within cards. There's a lot of variation between what to do, what the deck build. 40 to 60 the card decks are viable here. That is insane to think about because it is both a good thing that Draw and Nib aren't here, but also bad things that power decks are a thing. But instead of selling solutions, making power like too powerful, the power decks here are just they're just decks. They're just a trade-off. If you want a pile, you're lacking access to tech cards, and that's still a option in the TCG. But without Nib or Draw, combo deck is like, oh, who flips a coin, who goes first, and what makes it different also because of customs. I guess that's like not needing to be said, but like customs, they are allowing more innovations. They allow me to do what I want to do. And on top of all of that, I also had to like errata TCG cards as well, because certain stuff like the Vanquish Soul spell, Stake Your Soul, that spell has like, oh, it's like the most important cards in the Vanquish Soul archetype. It's not a Vanquish Soul card. I step in and just say, well, I'm just gonna make it a Vanquish Soul card, and because TCG cards, I for the sake of convenience, I import all the cards, the TCG or the customs here, into the card account of the format. And on that note, they're basically customs. I can edit whatever I want with them, and I just do it. And I feel like this control over everything, like the code that Konami does not have, is the difference between me and them, and that's because Konami, they had to go for a whole hurdle of a process to do such a thing. I only have the sake of balance in mind, because like I don't want to just give Breaker Soul like something they don't need, and then like they just be happy about that. Instead, give them something that is helpful in a way that does mean something. And I think that's the best way to do that is by, doing what actually matters instead of, doing erratas. Not erratas, just like importing new cards or new generics, or, make retrains of TCG cards. So like there was a thing back then where like the TCG cards are broken, or when you make a custom retrain of it, so people don't confuse the TCG with the customs. That's not the case here. And that total control and the whole speed of it, I believe that whole thing is, the whole thing is more control. The whole thing is with integrity and goodwill in mind. I want what's truly best, and I cannot stress that enough. If there's anything you can confuse me of, is that I'm not that smart. I'm not that, I'm not the best player in my own format. All right, but I do want to know. I do want what's best. I want to make sure all decks can compete. I want to make sure all playing against certain deck doesn't like feeling against. Like you got floodgated like 5 cards, right? That is what I'm here to do. Okay, and I believe I blabbed on that enough. So what makes it different? So this is a tough one. Why should people care or give it a shot? Well, before that, let's talk about the format project again. As you can see, this is based on Dueling Book, and that is because I do not know what the fuck to do with scripting. I'm not a coder. I'm a computer science major. I'm not a coder though. I don't have time to code. I'm trying to specialize in cybersecurity, for God's sake. But it is based on Dueling Book, and that is because it's the most accessible way to play customs there. And I have to go more about whitelist. I already said this but TCG cards are here, the customs are here, and yeah, and beyond that, there's really not much change to the Yu-Gi-Oh mechanic. Like all the mechanics work the way they are. Pendulum summons work the same. Link summons work the same. Mickey summons work the same. It's not like Genesis where like links are just outright banned or something. And like the rulings are all what TCG rulings are. The whole point is, I don't change anything other than the cards. And yeah, okay. I feel like if you feel frustrated by anything that Konami has done in the past few years, you should definitely try. First of all, don't give Mine a shot, because I feel like a big part of customs that you should try to make your own card for the sake of it, not just because I feel like if people that does have bad feelings regarding the format, they want to express it in some way, right? And I feel that's a beautiful part of custom, and I urge anyone to do that. I have a bunch of servers that I'm partnered with, and they're better places for creating customs. But if you're looking for like a different experience, but a more curated one, that is what I'm here to do. Because I am not here to like make sure that what cards you make are good or what cards you make are bad. I'm not here to make you a better designer. I'm here to just let you say, hey, you want to play the format, you can play my format. And to a lot of creators, there might be a turn off because they can't play their own cards, but a part of custom is also learning other decks. That's not to say that justifies, oh, that you just play my deck and that's it, right? But it is a part. It is a part, and I feel like anyone who like stuck pet decking their own decks should at least try to step out of it. And I feel like the best way to do that is ensuring that there's an actual like balanced environment to do so, and not in an environment where it's like, oh, if you don't play your pet decks, now you're gonna like have the enjoyment because the format is not as balanced around it. And frankly, another thing with it is that balancing within custom servers, within like majority like big ass servers like Extinction Unleashed or Custom Revolution, is that majority rules, and that's not even to their fault. It's just that whoever speaks aloud are usually gonna get away with it, because balancing is really hard in a format where TCG cards are always available. There's 10,000 plus cards. You don't really know what the meta is because there's no way to like extensively test it. And what is the meta at that point? It is based purely on representation, which in the Yu-Gi-Oh definition, that is what a meta is. But I feel like it's a part of particular crowd where it's like they don't really want to just play what's most represented. They want to play what is good for them and win with them, because that is what a game is about, to feel interactive, to feel competitive, to try and win to your best degree. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that if you truly want something like a competitive environment to play, that is also what it's here for. But also, this is not the format. It's not purely for competitive play, because there's also lore, there's also developed commentaries. This is hard for me to talk about because what is there to say is, other than that, the whole point of what I do is that to make it feel complete. And competitive integrity is just something like I feel like I want, and I don't want to make it my main focus, because I'm not a competitive player, right? I would definitely like host events for it where like I have cash cash pricing if I do have the money for it, but like I do other things because that's what developer is. They're not the best players. They're just people that just don't want to do what they do. And I feel like the whole vibe of Yu-Gi-Oh that I'm going for is something trying to replicating that was something Konami did. Maybe once or twice. Konami, if anything, they suck at protecting a whole feeling for format, and at some point when you try to take the game competitively, it's really hard to do so, not because the game is technically bad or objectively bad, it's just that they just lost that feeling. I remember when the most busted card the decks were like Emancipators or Prank Kids. Now, Tenpai Dragons. Now, I won't say now. Tenpai Dragons is an old ass deck. Like, if you look at the TCG every single time, like after a few months or even, God forbid, a year, it is like staring at a different mirror each time. And that is, I have different painting this time each time, not different mirror. And that is very jarring for a lot of people. And I feel like it's why a lot of people just, give up with the game. But that's not what I'm here to do. There's definitely power creep for the server, but I want to say this power creep for the sake of pushing the power ceiling, but more so to make sure that decks feel more fluid to play. Because power creep in this format isn't like new cards making old cards obsolete. It's buffing new cards to the point the old power ceiling doesn't exist anymore. And I feel that's a healthier way to make sure that power ceiling is raising is fine, because what is the point of raising the power ceiling? You're not gonna bring like other people with you, right? And if you like Yu-Gi-Oh the way it is, I don't push you. This is a very minority kind of project, minor project. But if you like Yu-Gi-Oh the way it's a certain feeling, if you like to see innovation instead of more power creep in the sense of new cards making old cards obsolete or just lazy design overall, this is what it's for. And you know, if you want to have a more complete experience with Yu-Gi-Oh as a whole, I feel like this is what the project is for, to have a complete experience, because that is what I do it for, to have a complete experience. Because these cards that you see here, they used to not have a place to call home, because the old servers I submitted them for, they died, or like they don't have lore because they're just like one-off archetypes or buffs, or doesn't matter because I don't really play them with them that much anymore. This is for the sake of completeness, right? This is for the sake of completeness. And if you ever desire that feeling of completeness, I feel like maybe you can find it in this project. But who knows? In the end, this is just something that I'm doing, and it's always gonna be something I do for myself first. But I care about this project and people having fun in it as well. So yeah, that is gonna be Modern Rebirth. I hope that you find this video fun to watch, or is enlightening, or otherwise hope to see you in this format. Hope to see you in the format and in duels. And if you want to join, there's gonna be a Discord link in the description. And yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions for me, I'll be in the server, all right? And you can reach out to me anytime by sending me messages and whatnot. But the invite link is in the server in the bottom. If you want to join, come join. And you know, if there's any other thing regarding you want to ask me, just ask me directly. But that'll be all. All right, thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.